Imagine an island that becomes a massive living carpet of red each year. 40 million creatures simultaneously leave their shelters and head toward the sea. Traffic stops, residents stay indoors, and daily life comes to a standstill. This is reality, not fiction or the end of the world. We're talking about the red crab migration on Christmas Island, considered one of the most spectacular natural events on our planet. Christmas Island sits in the Indian Ocean waters, 350 kilometers south of Java. This small piece of land covers just 135 square kilometers, but its formation began 60 million years ago, when a volcanic peak rose 5,000 meters from the ocean floor and broke through the water's surface. Over millions of years, coral formations developed on the basalt foundation, eventually transforming into a limestone cover. The island repeatedly rose above sea level, and each rise created step terraces and inland cliffs that define the unusual landscape of this territory today. On these terraces, in limestone crevices and beneath the tropical vegetation canopy, live red crabs of the species Gecarcoidea natalis. They are endemic to Christmas Island, meaning they exist nowhere else on the planet. Their population numbers 43,500,000 adult specimens. Red crabs spend most of their existence in complete solitude. Each animal occupies its own burrow, dug into the forest floor. Burrow concentration can reach 1 or 2 per square meter of area. During the dry season, crabs are practically motionless, remaining in their shelters and waiting. They wait for the rains to begin. With the arrival of the rainy season in October or November, an amazing phenomenon occurs. Absolutely all crabs synchronously leave their hideouts and begin moving toward the coast. This isn't a random wandering, but a clearly organized movement. Researchers have discovered that crabs move along nearly perfect straight trajectories. Moreover, the main mass of crabs from across the entire island heads not to the nearest shoreline, but specifically to the northwest coast. They seem to follow an invisible internal compass built into their nature. The migration pace is mind-blowing. The greatest recorded distance one crab covered in 24 hours equaled 1,460 meters. However, the average pace varies from 330 to 680 meters per day, depending on when the rainy season begins. With an early start to the rains, crabs move at a measured pace. They make stops lasting from 1 to 7 days along the route, eating fallen leaves and flowers, restoring energy. However, with a delayed start to the rains, an accelerated migration occurs. Crabs rush straight to the shore because they have a strict time limit. This limit is determined by the lunar cycle. Female red crabs lay eggs strictly during the last quarter moon in the pre-dawn hours during the receding tide. And crabs precisely determine when they need to leave their burrows to make this deadline. This is an amazing navigational ability. Males reach the shore first. They dig burrows on coastal terraces and real battles begin. The density of burrows here is so great that males fight each other for the right to own the best territory. Winners claim a spot and wait for females to arrive. When females reach the coast, mating occurs, usually in the privacy of a burrow won by the male. After completion, males rapidly leave the shore and return to the forest zone, covering the return journey in just 1 or 2 days. Their task is complete. Females continue to remain in burrows for another 12 or 13 days. During this time, they carry eggs in a special brood pouch under their abdomen. Each female carries up to 100,000 developing eggs. This is a significant load for a creature the size of a human palm. When the eggs reach maturity, females leave their burrows at night and move toward the water. They wait for the precise moment, the tide change in the last quarter of the lunar cycle. And then, just before dawn, millions of females synchronously release eggs into the ocean waters. The eggs instantly burst upon contact with seawater. Clouds of tiny larvae swirl at the coastal edge before waves and the receding tide carry them into the open sea. This is the decisive moment for the future generation of these creatures. Larvae remain in the ocean environment for 3 to 4 weeks. During this period, they go through several developmental stages, gradually transforming into shrimp-like creatures called megalopae. However, the overwhelming majority of larvae will never reach land. They're consumed by fish, plankton-feeding organisms, manta rays, and giant whale sharks that specifically swim to Christmas Island during this period to take advantage of the annual food abundance. The ocean becomes a huge dining hall where crab larvae become meals. Surviving megalopae gather in coastal pools for 1 or 2 days, then molt and become actual baby crabs. Their size is just 5 millimeters, but they're already capable of traveling, and they begin moving inland. This return journey takes approximately 9 days. Millions of tiny red dots crawl over rocks, climb cliffs, cross roadways. They move toward the plateau, to the protection of the forest, where they'll spend the first 3 years of existence hiding in cracks and under fallen branches. During this period, young crabs are practically invisible. They grow at a slow rate, molting several times as they increase in size. Adult individuals molt only once per year, usually in the safety of their own burrow. They reach sexual maturity at approximately 4 to 5 years of life. It's at this age that crabs first participate in the annual migration. And from this time on, they'll repeat this route every year until the end of their lives. Their lifespan, according to various estimates, ranges from 12 to 30 years. However, red crabs bring the island much more benefit than just migrating. They are a keystone species, ecosystem engineers. Most of the time, crabs live in the forest and eat fallen leaves, fruits, flowers, and seeds. By processing fallen leaves, crabs return nutrients back to the soil. They regulate the quantity of seeds and young plants on the forest floor, determining which plant species can develop. By digging burrows, they saturate the soil with oxygen, improving its quality. Studies demonstrate that red crabs essentially determine the appearance of Christmas Island's tropical vegetation. Without their presence, the forest would have a completely different look. Their activity affects plant species composition, nutrient cycling, and even the microclimate conditions of the understory. But this perfect system has enemies, and the most dangerous was accidentally brought by humans. This is the yellow crazy ant, Anoplolepis gracilipes, included in the list of 100 most dangerous invasive species on the planet. These ants appeared on Christmas Island presumably in the 1990s, most likely with cargo ships. They rapidly formed enormous supercolonies, numbering billions of specimens, functioning as a single organism. Yellow crazy ants got this name for their chaotic, disorderly behavior. But their method of killing crabs is highly effective. When a crab encounters a group of ants, they surround it and begin spraying formic acid directly into the eyes and respiratory organs. The crab loses vision, suffocates, and dies in agony. By 2002, ants had killed 10 to 15 million red crabs, approximately 1/4 to 1/3 of the entire population. Whole sections of forest became empty. Island authorities initiated an ant control program, dropping bait with the insecticide fipronil. In 2003, 12 tons of poisoned fish meal were dropped. This helped reduce ant numbers, but they began recovering. The fight against yellow crazy ants continues to this day. Their impact on the red crab population remains one of the main threats to the island's ecosystem. But ants aren't the only problem crabs face. Human infrastructure also creates serious obstacles. Christmas Island was annexed by Britain in 1888 because of rich phosphate deposits. Mining began, continuing for more than a century. To service the phosphate operations, workers were brought to the island from China, Malaysia, and India. Many of them labored in horrifying conditions. In the first 5 years of mining, from 1900 to 1904, over 500 Chinese workers died from beriberi due to inadequate nutrition. Gradually, infrastructure appeared on the island, roads, settlements, and annually, when crab migration begins, these roads become death traps. Thousands of crabs die under vehicle wheels despite all measures taken. But island authorities made an unprecedented decision. During migration, roads are completely closed for days and weeks. Vehicle traffic stops so crabs can safely cross the pavement. This is a rare case of human activity yielding to natural rhythm. Moreover, over 30 special crab bridges and underground passages have been built on the island. These structures allow crabs to cross roads without going onto the roadway. One of these bridges has become a genuine tourist attraction. The marketing manager of the Christmas Island Tourism Association once stated that Sydney has the Harbor Bridge, San Francisco has the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's their Crab Bridge that attracts travelers from around the world. And this is actually true. During migration, the island becomes a red carpet of moving shells. Crabs move along the most direct route from their burrows to the coast, covering roads, golf courses, and beaches. The spectacle is mesmerizing and simultaneously somewhat frightening. But this natural wonder has a new threat that can't be stopped by bridges or road closures. Climate change is beginning to affect migration timing, and this could have catastrophic consequences. Droughts are becoming more frequent and prolonged. If the rainy season is delayed, crabs can't begin migration on time. Remember that the spawning date is rigidly tied to the lunar cycle. Females must lay eggs during the last quarter moon. In 2023, an event occurred that alarmed scientists. Migration began only in February. This was the latest start since the 1980s. Crabs simply had no ability to leave burrows without rain. When migration begins late, crabs are forced to rush to shore without stops, without the ability to feed along the way. They reach the coast exhausted. Females lay eggs later than optimal timing, and larvae enter the ocean under less favorable conditions. This reduces survival of the new generation. If climate shifts continue, the red crab population may begin declining. And this will trigger transformations throughout the island's ecosystem, since crabs play a key role in nutrient cycling. There's another little-known fact about red crabs. Their internal navigation system is so precise that they can determine how far they are from shore during migration. Studies have shown that crabs adjust their speed depending on distance. If they understand the shore is far away but there's enough time, they make stops for feeding. If time is short, they move directly. This means crabs possess a kind of internal map of the island and can assess distances. Scientists still don't fully understand how this navigation system functions. Perhaps crabs orient by ocean smell, by Earth's magnetic field, or by some other signals we can't yet detect. But one thing is absolutely clear. Red crab migration isn't just a beautiful spectacle for travelers. It's a highly complex biological mechanism honed by millions of years of evolution. It's an example of how a species can perfectly adapt to its habitat. Red crabs synchronize their lives with lunar cycles, with tides, with rainy seasons. They transform the island into a single living organism where every element connects with others. Forests depend on crabs. Crabs depend on the ocean. The ocean depends on lunar cycles. And humans are built into this system. Christmas Island residents have learned to live by the crab schedule. They know when to stay home, when travel on roads is impossible, when the time comes to respect nature more than their own convenience. This is a lesson for the entire world. In an era when humans strive to control every aspect of nature, Christmas Island demonstrates that sometimes the best solution is to step back and allow nature to do its job. Crab bridges and closed roads aren't just infrastructure solutions. They're recognition that red crabs have the same right to this island as humans. Moreover, that their role in the ecosystem is irreplaceable. Programs to control yellow crazy ants continue. Scientists are searching for ways to protect crabs without harming other species. This is a complex task because Christmas Island is a unique ecosystem with a high level of endemism. Besides red crabs, dozens of species live here that aren't found anywhere else on the planet. Every human intervention must be carefully calculated so as not to create a new ecological catastrophe while trying to prevent an existing one. Tourism has become an important component of the island's economy. Thousands of people come here annually specifically during crab migration. They want to see this natural wonder with their own eyes, walk across bridges over the Red Stream, photograph shells covering every inch of ground. This tourist interest creates economic incentive to protect crabs. Authorities understand that red crabs aren't just part of the ecosystem, but a valuable resource bringing income. And this is good because economic arguments often work better than ecological ones. But there's also danger. Too large a flow of travelers can disrupt migration. People, even with good intentions, can accidentally crush crabs, create obstacles on their path, cause stress to animals. Balance is needed between accessibility and protection. Island authorities are working on this balance. Rules for tourists are being established. Access zones are being limited. Educational programs are being conducted. The goal is for people to observe migration without interfering with it. Scientific research on red crabs continues. Scientists use radio beacons, mark and recapture methods, satellite observation. Each year brings new data on behavior, population numbers, crab routes. This data is critically important for understanding how climate change affects the population. Only by having accurate information about numbers, survival rates, migration timing can effective protection strategies be developed. One of the most intriguing questions is why most crabs move specifically to the northwest coast rather than to the nearest shore. Scientists hypothesize this may be related to spawning conditions, to currents that better disperse larvae, or to historical factors. Perhaps long ago, the northwest coast offered better conditions for larval survival, and this genetic memory became fixed in crab behavior. Or maybe there are fewer predators there, safer terrain, more convenient access to water. Whatever the case, this behavioral feature makes migration even more vulnerable. If something happens to the northwest coast, if infrastructure is built there or pollution occurs, it will affect the majority of the population. Protection of key coastal sections is a priority for conservation organizations. A significant portion of the island has already been declared a national park, providing legal protection for critical habitats. But laws only work when they're enforced. Christmas Island is Australian territory, and Australia invests funds in protecting its unique nature. But this may not be enough. Global threats like climate change don't recognize national park boundaries. Droughts, rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, all of this affects the island, regardless of its protected status. Therefore, the future of red crabs depends not only on local efforts, but on global actions to combat climate change. This is another example of how the fate of a small island in the Indian Ocean connects with decisions made in capitals around the world. The story of Christmas Island red crabs is a story about ecosystem fragility, about the complexity of natural connections, about how one invasive species can destroy millions of years of evolution. But it's also a story about hope. The mass movement of red crabs on Christmas Island represents one of the most spectacular and coordinated natural events on Earth. Red crabs are a keystone species, determining the appearance of tropical forest. They withstand threats generated by human activity, from invasive ants to climate change. But people can protect this wonder when they recognize its value. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about our planet's amazing ecosystems and how we can preserve them. Leave comments, share your opinion. What do you think about human and nature coexistence? Is it possible in the modern world? Or are we doomed to conflict? Your opinion matters.